chaotic election cycle, all boiling down to this.
We're winning by a lot, but, you know, you can lose by a little.
We are running as the underdog, so we have some hard work ahead of us, but we like hard work.
From the race to lead the country,
Hopefully, whoever gets in office will listen to the people.
to the race to lead our state.
What matters to people is how they're going to make it in this state.
I will veto any further restrictions on women's reproductive freedom.
Tonight, it's about the issues you care about.
If it goes the wrong way, we're going to lose a lot of freedoms and rights.
I have part-time jobs, full-time jobs just to make ends meet.
Also, a key focus this election, recovery in Western North Carolina following the devastation from Helene.
When a disaster strikes, we don't stop elections, we figure out how to proceed.
North Carolina is the state to watch. Does it turn blue or red?
People are waking up and realizing they need to put their voice out there.
Tonight, our crews are working hard to get the most accurate results and the latest updates. Our Decision 2024 election night coverage starts right now. Thanks for joining us live at 8 right here in Spectrum News 1. I'm Tim Boehm. The polls closed about 30 minutes ago. Results starting to roll in. Both presidential candidates attending watch parties tonight. On the left, you're taking a live look at the watch party for Vice President Kamala Harris at Howard University in Washington, D.C. On the right, former President Donald Trump hosting his watch party from Palm Beach County Convention Center in West Palm Beach, Florida. Tonight, we've got coverage from across North Carolina with our team of reporters on your screen. You see right there. They'll have the latest from campaign headquarters and the biggest races that we are following. You want to stay tuned as we get results and hear from key candidates in these important statewide races. We're also joined by our political team here in studio, senior political reporter Loretta Benini and Washington correspondent Ruben Jones to track the big races and break everything down for us. By the way, just a quick note about results tonight. Due to some law changes, we're getting them in a little differently. What you're going to see first are absentee mail-in ballots that can still be reported as soon as polls close, which was 7:30. But early in-person ballots can't be tabulated until after the polls close. You expect to have the first wave of those between now and 9:30, and then the rest of the results, today's vote, from 8:30 to midnight or 1 perhaps. And Loretta will be mentioning the expected vote to our viewers. Expected vote is an Associated Press estimate of how the vote in an election has been counted. So how do they do that?
Well, it's informed by the turnout in recent election, details on votes cast in advance and after polls close, early returns. The estimate may fluctuate as the election officials report additional results and the AP learns more about how many voters have actually cast their ballot. You can pay attention to this all night right here to see how much of the expected vote is actually in, according to the Associated Press. So we will be watching that. As Tim said, we have seen the absentee votes come in some of our counties, just the ones that are colored in right here. It's going to be updating itself live as more of these results come in. We've only seen from the counties that have come in right now, and these are only those folks who mailed in their absentee ballots. This very first round of voting, we're seeing that Democrat Kamala Harris is currently in the lead here in North Carolina. We have a long way to go here in our state. The other race we're really paying very close attention to tonight is our governor's race. We are going to have a new governor after this. Our current governor, Roy Cooper, is term limited. He could not run for re-election, so we currently have our Attorney General, Josh Stein, a Democrat. He is running for governor against our Lieutenant Governor, Mark Robinson, the Republican. Tim, this is one of those races where we have seen really wide margins in the polling that we've seen for these races. So we're going to be watching this closely to see if that polling actually comes to fruition as these results come in.
And as we heard last hour, some people are skipping the gubernatorial race, so it's kind of interesting to follow. All right, Loretta, thank you so much. Let's turn now to Jenna Ray Gardner in Raleigh. Jenna Ray, you've been at the polls all day long tracking voter turnout and issues that are potentially popping up. What have you found?
Yeah, that's right. I've been watching lots of people come in and out of different polling locations across our state today. Right now I'm at Tarboro Road Community Center where the voting ended about 30 minutes ago. I watched a group of volunteers say a prayer over the future leaders that we're going to have here in our state, here in our country, just as they kind of congratulated themselves on a job well done here today. Now, the last couple polling locations in our state just closed at 8 p.m. As a reminder, Pilot Mountain Precinct in Burke County and Gardner School Precinct in Wilson County were open for an extra extra 30 minutes because of some complications in opening this morning. They were a little bit delayed, but now precinct poll workers can hand deliver their election results to the County Board of Election offices. And even before today, there was a record number of voters from in-person voting and absentee mail-in voting, early in-person voting and absentee mail-in voting. And so now, as far as turnout numbers from this morning indicated, we're likely going to have some record-breaking numbers in North Carolina for voting this year. But as the results come in, we're going to see just how many people came out to the polls today. Back to you guys in the studio.
All right, thank you so much. A big race that we're obviously tracking closely tonight in North Carolina, of course, the race for governor. Democrat and current Attorney General Josh Stein facing Republican and current Lieutenant Governor Mark Robinson to become the next leader of the Tar Heel State. Our Rob Wu joins us live right now at the Stein Election Night Watch Party in Raleigh. And Rob, I imagine the mood's pretty good there tonight. These early numbers coming in, and he's got a big lead.
Yeah, you know, Tim, I would pay just about anything not to hear the words cautiously optimistic one more time. But that is the word out here in the campaign. The watch party just got started within the last half hour. The Black Eyed Peas, let's get it started, the first song of the night. Now, North Carolina is a state where you see a good amount of split ticket voting. In the last 44 years, Tim, only one Democratic presidential candidate, Barack Obama, carried North Carolina back in 2008. But over that same time, 8 Democratic gubernatorial candidates have won North Carolina. The people here hoping tonight is number 9. Attorney General Josh Stein does have a double-digit lead over his opponent. Stein telling us earlier today, though, he expects the results to be much closer, in part because of past history. The 2 races he won for Attorney General were by razor-thin margins. In 2016, he beat Buck Newton by 0.5%. 4 years later, he beat Jim O'Neill by about half that margin, 0.26%. The campaign telling me once again still they're cautiously optimistic. We shall see as the night rolls on. Tim, back to you.
Yeah, he'd certainly like that larger margin this go around. No question about that, Rob. Thank you. We'll check back in later. Now let's go to Mark Robinson's watch party, also in Raleigh. That's where we find our Sarah Rudlang live. And Sarah, last hour you were talking about they feel somewhat hopeful despite the poll numbers.
Yeah, Tim, that's right. So there's a crowd of people who are waiting to come into Mark Robinson's watch party here. We're at Raleigh City Club. And the people that I've spoken with here, they are excited and optimistic, as is his campaign. So it's really interesting. Mark's chief strategist was just in here. He was talking to the journalists and he was telling us that their internal polling is much more positive than the public ones that we've seen. So, recent polls point to Democrat Josh Stein pulling away by double digits. But again, his strategist says their internal polls show it is a much tighter race. And so we asked if we could get some specifics. He said they think that they're actually ahead, but they wouldn't tell us by how much. So interesting there. And another note, we know that former President Donald Trump had previously given Robinson a huge endorsement, even likening him to Martin Luther King on steroids. But then that CNN report came out in September alleging Robinson had made racist and vulgar comments on that online forum. And, things have been kind of quiet publicly since. We do know the former president has been in our state multiple times, but Robinson's strategist telling us tonight that he has spoken with Trump several times and that Trump still supports him and says, fight, fight, fight. We're going to keep the results coming your way. But back to you, Tim.
All right, thanks so much, Sarah. Now we want to get a wide lens view of the election across the country. Our Reuben Jones joins us in studio, normally crossing the country himself in Washington, but he's here tonight. Good to see you.
Great to see you, Tim, and hello and good evening on its election night. We have finally made it. Why is North Carolina a battleground state? We've used that word so many times over the past few months, and there is a reason for that. Let's show you the map. There are 7 battleground states the Harris and Trump campaigns have been putting a lot of attention on. Nevada, Arizona out west, Pennsylvania, Michigan, Wisconsin, North Carolina, and Georgia. That was the map I was going to show you. We'll show you this one, though, because the reason I want to talk about this is timing, because we've heard a lot of talk that it could be days until we find out a winner in this presidential race. We may get a little bit of an indication because North Carolina and Georgia are the first 2 battleground states where the polls close early. Georgia closed at 7 o'clock. North Carolina closed at 7:30. Now, that doesn't mean we're going to find out a winner, but we'll get a little bit of an indication. And to show you Georgia right now, Tim, that results right now shows Trump up, but it does not include Atlanta results at this point. So we'll get a little bit of an indication as we start to follow Georgia, North Carolina.
Yeah, Atlanta, pretty big deal for Democrats in that state.
You got to have that.
Yeah, absolutely. Good to see Reuben. We'll see throughout the night a pivotal race for U.S. House. Coming up next, one of the most watched races for Congress in the country. It's right here in North Carolina. We're tracking the results from the District 1 race. Then a little later, we're joined by Spectrum News 1 anchor Brittany McDonald. She's in the mountains this election night. You see them right there, talking with leaders about the election's impact now more than a month after Helene devastated the area. Be right back. Welcome back to our Live Decision 2024 coverage right here on Spectrum News 1. Tonight there's a toss-up congressional race that we're closely watching. It's the race for the District 1 seat. Between those two, you see on the screen Democrat incumbent Don Davis and Republican newcomer Lori Buckhout. Ruben Jones joins us now with a look at the results so far in this race. This is expected to be real close.
It is, and we've only got one toss-up district because remember, we have an even split right now. 7 Republicans, 7 Democrats in North Carolina, but because of a redrawn congressional map by Republican state lawmakers, 3 Democrats got districts that were much more Republican, so they said, no thanks, we're not going to run. And so now you've got 3 Republicans coming in and potentially 4, and that's where we get to this toss-up district over in eastern North Carolina between the freshman Democrat Don Davis and the Republican challenger Lori Buckhout. 2 veterans. Don Davis is considered a moderate Democrat in Congress. This race early into the night here, but Davis leading. I will say this is a toss-up race that could have national significance in terms of what party is going to control the House of Representatives. Tim, I can tell you that I spoke with an official with the Davis campaign a little bit earlier, and they said they feel better about this than they were about 2 weeks ago. The reason for that is the early voting numbers have improved with black voter turnout. Black voters are critical in this district in eastern North Carolina, so if they can get strong turnout there, remember it's a very rural area, they feel pretty good.
Yeah, although I will say the mail-in numbers were tighter than some of the other Democrats, so it shows just how close this race is going to be.
Oh, yeah.
Ruben, all right, thank you very much. Now we want to check in on the watch parties for the candidates. Our Siobhan Riley joins us live from Don Davis's party tonight. So how are they feeling right now?
You know, there's a lot of excitement here in Snow Hill, North Carolina. They're expecting about 200 people to come out here. Everyone just telling me they are really looking forward to this. And this is a look at some of the people who are starting to trickle in here tonight. You can see that people, not a packed crowd yet, but they expect this room to be packed. Just to give you a little bit of information about Don Davis. Don Davis, he is from Snow Hill, North Carolina, at just 29 years old. He was the youngest mayor here in Snow Hill. And also he went on to become the state senator, and then he went on to become the next member of Congress. And now he is vowing to get voters to vote for him, to re-elect him as the next member of Congress. He is very passionate about this community. This is a community that he says oftentimes is forgotten about, but he is trying to continue to put this community back on the map because he says oftentimes people feel like they are just left out. And so again, we're going to continue to keep watching, and we will bring you more reports throughout the night. Reporting live in Snow Hill tonight, Siobhan Riley, Spectrum News.
Siobhan, thank you. Across the aisle, our Kylie Panetta is at Lori Buckhout's watch party. So Kylie, what's the mood there?
Hey Tim, here in Rocky Mount, things are starting to get underway. We have about 100 people here in attendance at Lori Buckhout's election night watch party. Now, we are not really seeing much of Lori around chatting with people. Her campaign spokesperson came over and told me that she's really just hanging back, and that really is an example of how she's kind of been approaching this race. She actually described herself in an interview with Spectrum News 1 as a workhorse and not a show horse. She really just wants to get to work. She says she's really not all about the lights and the cameras and the attention. She believes that she just really wants to get the job done. So we'll continue to monitor things as the preliminary results come in tonight, and we'll keep watching things here in Rocky Mount. But for now, we're live in Rocky Mount. Tim, back to you.
All right, thank you so much. Appreciate it. Again, national eyes on that race, as are ours. Election night after Helene, Spectrum News 1 anchor Brittany McDonald talking with a group of leaders in the mountains about the impact of the storm, how this election could shape recovery efforts. Our live coverage continues after this quick break. Welcome back to our election night coverage on Spectrum News 1. Helene devastated parts of western North Carolina in late September. Many communities now facing months, probably years of recovery. This election night, We want to hear from leaders in the mountains about recovering efforts and their thoughts on how all these key races will impact them. Spectrum News 1 anchor Brittany McDonald joins us live from Asheville with a panel discussion. Brittany, it's good to see you.
Yeah, Tim, thanks so much for having us. We are sitting where a brewery used to sit, and now it's just a site of destruction. You can't even really make out what it was, and this is an unfortunate reality for so many people living in the mountain communities over a month out from when Helene hit. But what's amazing is so many people still came out to cast their ballots in this very important election. And tonight I have a panel set up for you here in Western North Carolina of community leaders and members to tell us more about how they're feeling and what the future looks like here and what they really need from new leaders that'll be elected tonight, as well as some ones that are continuing in their roles. We have the Canton Mayor, Zeb Smathers, with us tonight. We have Brian Fetting. He is the owner of New Origin Brewing, which used to sit right here, as well as Asheville firefighter Matt Balance. Thanks so much for all joining me tonight. Such an important night. And I want to start with you, Matt. First responders faced so much during Helene, after Helene. You're still continuing to. Some first responders even lost their lives, paid the ultimate sacrifice trying to help people. We had Fairview Volunteer Battalion Fire Chief Tony Garrison and his nephew both trying to save people from a mudslide, and they both died because of it. So tell me more about just the mental toll that this disaster, this historic disaster, has played in first responders like you.
Sure. I mean, so obviously our job is something that we see traumatic events on a fairly regular basis, but because of our schedule, we have time away. We have time to decompress at home, and we do the best we can to try to deal with those situations the best we can. But in a situation like this, a lot of our people were, especially in the very first part of this incident, were working 3 or 4 days straight, some even more, before they got a chance to really stop and decompress. After the fact, we had recovery teams out here doing, search and rescue for victims, going through rubble, doing searching along the riverbank. And those things take their toll over time. And when it's just nonstop and in your face for 24 hours a day, basically. So I'm fortunate enough to be a lead with our peer support team at Asheville Fire Department, who are one of our big priorities at Asheville Fire Department is making sure that our members are taken care of and are healthy both mentally and physically as well. So we have been trying to do the best we can to make sure that our members are getting any sort of counseling that they need after the fact. We are lucky enough that the city of Asheville works with an organization here in town called Responder Support Services, and their sole purpose is to give clinical therapy to first responders, whether that's fire, EMS, law enforcement. And it's such a blessing that we have that in times like this, but throughout normal times as well, because of what we face.
Yeah, it's just amazing, and we thank you for what you do and what you are going to have to continue doing. And Brian, I mean, along with the mental toll, it's also taking a massive toll on tourism and business. This was your business, hoping to rebuild. But how important is tourism for you and just getting people back here in Western North Carolina and spending their money?
Yeah, I mean, it's massively important, not only for us, but for all the small businesses in town here. And there are many, as I have mentioned before, even if they weren't hit in such a catastrophic way as we were, that tourism is a major piece of the puzzle for keeping this area going and staying strong. Of course, there's the viability side of keeping a business open, but then there's also just the nuts and bolts of an economy that you have to keep going. And it's going to be a long process for those businesses if we can't get that tourism back. So we are always encouraging people to check in and see, Asheville is open, with some limitations, but coming out to Asheville and the surrounding areas has been, something that we're really encouraging. And, for us, there's that piece. There's also, more of a grassroots effort as well. That includes things like a GoFundMe. There's many of them in the area, lots of businesses and individuals that need help. We have one as well. The New Origin Brewing support after Hurricane Helene. That's massively helpful, but otherwise, I mean, the positive side of it is the community comes together in a huge way to help, to be there for each other, and we've just been incredibly thankful for that. So for now, you know, the community's been together, but we're hoping to see that tourism come back.
Absolutely, yeah, and even while we've been here, we've been hitting up some businesses and restaurants, still thriving. I mean, still some amazing places. And Zeb, as I mentioned at the beginning here, voter turnout was amazing. It was remarkable here in Western North Carolina. We were talking before, it seemed like it would be lower. I mean, people lost everything, and yet they showed up to the polls. So what does that tell you about this community?
Well, I'm not surprised. I mean, I know the grit and grace of this community. I've said it, you know, the struggles we've been through in Canton, you know, in 21, the floods, the mill closure, the quality and character and strength of the people in West North Carolina. When I heard it was questioned, I know the patriotism, and I truly mean that. I mean, when you hear stories about, you know, sitting with these men up here, you know, when the care we have for our military, our veterans, our fire, our police, our emergency services, it's not just words, it's actions. And we take voting serious. And whether you're a Democrat or Republican or independent, we know as we go forward, our voice matters, and who we elect, our voice matters. There'll be a time and place after tonight to sit down, to explain. And that's one worry I have. And there are people we've been working with from Washington to Raleigh. They may not be in that seat in a couple of months. It's our job to educate. And so the first part of that was to vote. We'll let, you know, that sort itself out tonight. We'll get back to work tomorrow, whoever's sitting there. But again, the pride that we have for these mountains. But again, it's like I said earlier, we cannot lose the attention that's on West North Carolina. We appreciate all the charity, but also to echo, you know, all the stories that have amazed me from people across the U.S. that have memories of visiting West North Carolina, going to the Biltmore House, whatever it may be. We need those people in time to return to the communities. They're open. Hours may vary, but we're going to need people to show up, spend that money, and we look forward to welcoming them back to the mountains very soon.
Absolutely. Still just such a gem here in the state, no matter what. So Zeb, Brian, and Matt, thanks so much for joining us for this hour. We're going to be back with you next hour as well to talk more about what Western North Carolina needs in the coming months and years, and why tonight and the outcome of tonight is so important to this community. So stay with us for the next hour as well. Back to you guys.
So important to keep it focused out in the mountains. Brittany, appreciate you being there tonight. There are more key races to get to when we return. Who will become North Carolina's next top cop? Tracking the Attorney General race between Republican Dan Bishop and Democrat Jeff Jackson. Plus, who will lead our state's public schools? We'll get the results from the superintendent's race. We'll be right back.